Welcome back to another episode of Podcast P, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented to you by Prize Picks. It's your boy PG. Joined with me is my guy, Dallas Rutherford. No Jackie Long today, but we do got a special guest with us today. We got the Drew League legend, the Drew League champ, our guy, Cop 10, DeMar DeRozan. Appreciate you, Brody.
I get to do the handshakes this time. Great. This is great.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir, champ. Appreciate you, man. Like, as we stated earlier, you are our highest viewed episode thus far.
One.
So the people love hearing from you, dog.
Man, that's love. I mean, I appreciate y'all even wanting me back on here to be the highest viewed. It's crazy because, going into it, you don't think about it, but it just show you the history we had that show the realness that, I think people enjoy. So it's definitely dope. Even for me to be able to reminisce and talk about a lot of those things is definitely crazy.
Right. We do want to congratulate you. Like I said, Drew League champion. This first year you won it?
Yeah, first. Yeah, I think, first. We lost was it the championship when we played? Remember when we played in it?
The year, I think I missed it. I missed the championship. Like every year, I'll be like, damn, I'm trying to play.
We always miss it.
And then I always miss it. Like timing wise, it just be like, nah, he can't play now. He ain't played one game all year.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's crazy you bring that up because I see everybody keep saying like, oh, he been playing in this long. He never won it. It's like, you know how our schedules are, bro. This is like the first time I was able to be home consecutive weekends to be able to do it. It wasn't not like I just played in and I lost. It was like I was never here to be able to finish out what I kind of like started. So I made it a thing this year to be there through the whole, last 3-4 weeks of the Drew.
Right. And you had the big 50 piece. Was that the championship game?
Yeah, that was championship.
50 piece to win the chip.
Who else is on your team?
My youngin, Dalen Terry, played with me.
Okay.
My guy, Casper Ware, he played with me. We got
LA legend.
Yeah, LA legend. I've been playing with Casper since, we started. That's one of my close friends. We go way, way back to high school. So to win it with him, especially with his dad was the coach. He a Drew League legend. So to win it for him and to win it for their family, because they family been in the Drew League 80s, 90s. So to win it for him, it was definitely cool. So, it was a dog fight because we was getting smacked by damn near 30, middle of the third quarter. So come back and win it was a hell of a game.
You were down 30 in the third?
Yeah. We was down 16 with 5 minutes to go.
Isn't it like what are the minute quarters?
10-minute quarters.
10-minute quarters. That just goes to show you, bro.
It really was a dog
LA got
fight,
hoopers, dog.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like on some real, to be real, the team we played, those guys were they was legit players. Like seriously, it was even a couple players I talked to after the game, and it's like, yo, if I could help out with anything I could do with getting you looked at or overseas or anybody like a coach, I'm gonna do it because they really was players. They really could hoop, So I gotta give a shout out to them because they really did their thing.
Was Frank Nitti on that team?
Nah, we had beat Frank Nitti the weekend before.
Okay, because I know he's won
he won it. Even when we played them, that was a dog fight, but we ended up beating them.
Yeah. Where you see the Drew League going? Because it's like when you think of Drew League, automatically DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where you see it going? Because I know Dino got it in a great place.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's got to be a conversation one day of DeMar, I want you to take over and take the Drew League.
That's crazy you said that. That was brought literally right after the game. That was mentioned. They came to me and basically want me to be a part of it and figure out how we could take it to the next level.
Yeah. And
I told them I'm all for it. Whatever ideas that I could bring and you could share, let's do it because you know how it is for us. That's a sentimental basketball element that goes deeper than just one person. I think it's such a cultural thing when you think about LA basketball. Even with me playing in it since I was 15 years old, that was a staple for me in my development to be able to have the confidence, the belief that I could do it, let alone having the inner city kids come for free and watch us play. It was a point where we can name Hall of Fame players that came through the Drew and played at the height of it. So I kind of just want to figure out ways how I could keep that element, intact and kind of grow from there. And that was the part of the reason why I made sure I was there to play through the whole time this year and try to bring that excitement back to it.
Mm-hmm.
For casual fans, break down the difference besides like the obvious, but between playing in the NBA and then going and playing in the Drew League. I know it's basketball, maybe from like a competitive standpoint. And I know you love basketball. You've talked about how there's other guys that you genuinely love to play. Is it tough for you to like get ready for a game like that? You know what I mean?
For a Drew League game?
Yeah.
Hell no.
It's just same as you're lacing them up for the Kings.
It's the same because it's like, one, I can't have a person that isn't in the NBA have any type of something over my head to go back home and use. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because if anything we do wrong there, it's going to get magnified. If somebody kill you or somebody go at you, it's going to get magnified. So you got to bring your A game no matter what. Mm-hmm. No matter what. It's kind of like, it's what we grew up on playing basketball in the park. Nobody was there, but you didn't want this guy who you was playing against to get the ups on you. And it's the same way with the Drew League. I go out there and really look at it like, man, these dudes really they really want to try to get me on the move or block my shot or feel like they could guard me. And that's the thing that's going to go viral. So it's like, I got to stay locked in. So, I don't play around.
Yeah, and you got to look at it like, too, because it's like, these dudes, like, from your neighborhood, too, like, they waiting for this opportunity. Like, man, I can't wait to see, see him this summer. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going at his neck. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you do gotta.
And you probably know people that know them. So
yeah,
of
course, bro, of course.
I remember the LeBron James clip. It was like, this guy worked at 9 to 5 and then had to go guard LeBron James.
Yeah.
And he was working.
He was.
Yeah.
He was trying to pick Bron up.
Yeah, bro.
Full court, everything. Like, you don't play about it for real.
Yeah. Speaking on, you know what I mean, you mentioned a lot of guys that have played in the Drew League. What you think was the biggest or better moment? Kobe playing back in 2011 or Bron when he came and played on your team?
Man, it's so crazy because you got two iconic fixtures of our game playing in the hood, coming to support the community in a whole different way. I think the way Kobe did it, it was so unexpected because it literally happened that day. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody get the text, the calls. It wasn't even supposed to be a Drew League game that day, and it was at Washington Park, small gym. Probably got 2-3 rows of a bleacher, and before you know it, it was packed out. Kobe to come in and score 50, hit a game-winning shot, and stand there like it was so poetic, know. And I think like Bron's having to be planned, and you see the whole city come out and the anticipation, like they kind of go neck and neck. Because, both these Laker legends, the best players in our league, everything, come out here and play. Like, it was, you got to put them neck and neck. You know what I mean? Like, you pick your poison. Whoever your favorite, that's what you ride with. But just for both of those guys to do something like that, it was like, that's legendary, man.
Yeah. Nah, definitely both was special. I just think Kobe got to have an edge because it was like,
yeah, it was so, and it was like
he was like in like where Bron played. What's
King Drew?
King Drew.
That's like Compton Watts.
But where Cole was, that was like real trenches.
That was like that's the hood, bro.
And when he hit the shit, all the fans come rush him. They felt him. They got to touch him. Like it was just a real. And then he playing against yourself, playing against James. You know what I mean? That was almost like I'm passing the torch in a way. You know what I mean? So watching that shit like always give me chills.
No, yeah, like, and it's even before the shot was made. What made it so crazy? I always gotta plug this little part in where the police was trying to get him to leave before the game was over.
Yeah,
like I think his video out there you could find.
I remember you said that he wanted to finish.
Like, and he was like, "Nah, I'm finishing this game." So for him to even do that just shows how legendary that moment really was, because he said that. Couple minutes later, go out and hit the game with a shot and just stand there. And, I think he stood in the corner, signed stuff. And, dope. Like it's both crazy moments for real.
Right. Bonky is not here. Jackie Long, he was unable to be here on this episode. He's actually in Chicago shooting The Chi. But he did have a question for you, Debo. Here it go.
Y'all called me while I was on set, but I will always stop to give my boys podcast peace some love. Anyways, DeMar DeRozan, I'm sorry I'm not there today, man. And I want to congratulate you on your book, my brother. And I just want to ask you this one question. What was the biggest challenge in writing your memoir on depression and managing your mental health while being a professional high athlete like yourself?
Man, shout out to Jackie. I was looking forward to seeing him. But shout out to you, with the show and everything. But that's a great question with him, asking what was my biggest challenge, working on a book. My biggest challenge is really going back to a lot of moments of my childhood that, you tend to forget, that kind of, put you in a lot of those dark places, built up aggression, the lack of confidence, a lot of those down moments of my life, just going back to those moments. And, you got to be so detailed when you writing a book to where, it could come down to like, do you remember, if it was hot outside, what was it? Something so detailed that helped you pinpoint that emotion that you felt at a certain age. And for me, a lot of those moments was tough because, you really forget, how much shit you go through as a child, and that you sweep under the rug, that you don't even understand and can't even fathom because your mental not even fully developed yet to even process the emotions that you was going through. So for me, working on a book, going through a lot of those moments, it kind of like, it kind of a few times made me say, man, damn this book, like, because it was tough going back to a lot of those moments, remembering your parents' struggle, remember what it was like coming home to no food, fucking, having a fucking cooler with ice in it as your refrigerator, and you got to change the ice every 2-3 days, like, so a lot of those moments was kind of like difficult, like, cause I could remember looking at my mom's face and, you understand the fake smiles at times, you know what I mean? And you understand the frustration from your father when he come in at night and understanding like, shit, I ain't got enough to feed us, but we gonna make it through the night. So that was kind of like my toughest point of doing the book. And, managing my mental health through being an athlete, I think for me is basketball. It's just, P would tell you like this kind of give us an opportunity to be free, kind of be away from a lot of our distractions, a lot of our pain, a lot of, family shit, a lot of friend shit, a lot of shit that could kind of put us down. Sometimes, we, been plenty of nights, I just go to the gym and just shoot and realize 2-3 hours went by. Now you done forgot about everything that's going on. And same with the game. When you do certain things that translate over to the game and, you bask in the moment of like, God damn, like I'm playing in front of 20,000 people. I'm about to make this shot to make all these people either cheer or go home sad. You kind of lean on those emotions. So for me, that kind of helps me a lot. Granted, I still have moments where I be fucked up and I'm still all over the place and I'm aggressive and all that. But a lot of times I lean on a lot of my teammates. I think I've been lucky enough, throughout my career to have some great teammates, man, to hang with, to talk with, to, communicate with, because during the season, that's like a brotherhood. Those guys we with every single day, so I got to give a big shout out to, most of the guys I ever played with in my career. They know the conversations we have on a plane, on a bus, after a game, before a game, after practice, whatever it may be. Those guys definitely, help me through.
Yeah. So the book comes out September 10th. How are you with because a lot of it, you got to be vulnerable, right? And you got to let people inside on who DeMar is that don't really know the stories that you just said. Talk to us a little bit about like that part of it, like just when you get to that point of just being comfortable, being vulnerable.
I still don't think I'm fully comfortable, but I think I'm more so fully confident in expressing the things that I've been through and the things that I'm going through because, I say confident because, I'm confident in myself of feeling like, I'm DeMar. I made it through so much to this point why not be able to have the confidence to share my story to help the next person that probably haven't been through half as much or probably been through more than me and just need an insight of encouragement to feel like it's okay to be vulnerable, you know, and understand that it's hard. Trust me, the shit is hard. Like it ain't nothing that I'm fully comfortable with, but you know, I look at it like it's bigger than me and try to take the selfish side of the emotion out and look at it like, man, this could help somebody. This could kind of give a better insight or point of view towards the next person, whether if it's an athlete or a person, to be able to get through whatever tough time that they going through. And that's kind of what I try to lean on, because that's what I do. Sometimes I go home and I listen to somebody's story. I have no clue who this person is. And I find so much encouragement and strength through the story that they tell. So I try to do the same thing.
Did you have any moments, like P mentioned being vulnerable, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like therapeutic. Like I know P has told me like doing the podcast is therapeutic, and you guys have so much eyes on you. Dude, for me, it's therapeutic coming up here and talking about anything, and there's not near the limelight that is on YouTube. But did you have moments where it was difficult while writing the book, whether you had to revisit, you know, a moment or a memory or something like that?
Listen, I'm gonna be real. I haven't told nobody this shit. Like I had a moment a week ago, like, man, shit, why I do this book? I don't even want this book to come out. I'm be honest, because it's like, shit, the reality of it hit, like knowing it is getting closer. You know what I mean? Like, damn, like, you know, I'm sharing a lot of stuff that I never shared. You know what I mean? Like even the back of the book, I shared a picture of, like, when I was a kid, me and my dad. You know what I mean? Like my dad was my everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and even just sitting here, like the love and respect like my dad had for P parents was incredible. Like even today, I'm at my mom's house chilling with my mom. I'm like, I'm about to go do a PG podcast. She said, oh, I love PG. Tell him I said hi. Tell his mom I asked about him. You know what I mean? And it's like those the moments that come full circle with the emotions to where it's like, this is why you do it. You know what I mean? This is exactly why you do it, because like of these moments, like that kind of you kind of forget about of like, you know, it's bigger than just us at times. You know what I mean? Me thinking about every time my parents encountered PG parents, it was like, it was a fucking like, it was like a family type of thing. You see what I'm saying?
Always love.
Yeah, it was always love. So like, you know, that was one thing that was big, even for me to dedicate this book to my dad, because, you know, when my dad passed, it was like the toughest shit for me to deal with. But, you know, it happened in the middle of the season, and I don't think if I was in the middle of the season that happened, I would have fucking just think I would have lost it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like I have my moments, but in the same token, certain shit happens. Like to my example of like my mom saying like, oh man, like tell PG I love you. It'd be moments like that. It'd be like, all right, I'm on the right track. Keep going. Fuck it. You know what I mean? So.
And just out of curiosity, how long did it take you to write the book, and how many times did you have to edit it? Because I'm sure you mentioned being detailed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a time sensitive thing, because I had to really like dedicate time to it, like an everyday thing last summer. Like it was one of those things to where like, and I had moments where I was getting frustrated about it. Like, I just get back to it. Like I try to sweep it to the rug, or, you know, you start to figure out like you 4 or 5 hours in a day working on a book, and it's like your mind started to get cloudy, but you got to stay on point on what's most important, and not just like bullshit through it. You know what I mean? So it was very time sensitive. It was frustrating. There was a lot of emotions up and down. There was a lot of, I don't want to do this shit. I'm tired of this shit. I'm over it. You know what I mean? But I just stuck with it.
I love that. And you had mentioned, you know, earlier that you'd go in the gym and you just get shots up, and next thing you know, 2-3 hours has passed. And for both of you, talk a little bit about how the game of basketball has been therapeutic for your mental health.
Yeah, I mean, shit, same as what DeMar said. Like, you could have the most stuff on your mind. Heart could be heavy, chip on your shoulder, like cloudy mentally, like, but you get in the gym and it's just you're not worried about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just shots, repetition, working on a move, seeing the ball go in, hearing the ball bounce, hearing the shoes squeak. Like, it'd be little shit that you just tap into that you forget everything that's going on. You know what I mean? And it's a cool way to just kind of unplug and uncharge from shit you dealing with. You know what I mean? Not to say that you putting it to the side, but it's like, I need to get my mind off of this shit or it's going to drive me crazy because I'm putting too much into this. And so, yeah, basketball, man, that shit is therapeutic. Going through the season can be therapeutic when you're dealing with tough times. Because, like he said, you got teammates that you can lean on. You got coaches you can lean on. You got games that, you know what I mean, take up your time. You got a schedule that take up your time. So it allows you to kind of disconnect sometimes when you need to. Yeah, I mean, I think just getting into a gym, period. You know what I mean? I think the whole process of it, of like grabbing the sneakers, jumping in a 30-minute car drive, listening to music, getting there, nobody's there. You can take your time to get ready for whatever the process is. And then like, I don't know how long I'm here. Like, I don't even set a time limit. I don't know how long I'm in here for. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm gonna be at the gym for an hour. I'm not saying I'm gonna be at the gym for 2 hours. I don't know how long I'm gonna be in the gym. But while I'm here, it's about like clearing the space, clearing my mind. Then when I get out the gym, it's like, oh, that felt good. You know what I mean? Like, that shit felt great. I might do some extra shit. I might do some sprints.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm just in a whole different, I'm not even thinking about shit that was going on at home or shit that went on back at the crib. Like, I'm on a whole, like, that shit just put me on a whole nother level of a train of thought. So, yeah, I think that's just kind of my process when I'm dealing with stuff. It's just like, you know, just lock in, do something, get shots, lock in somewhere else.
I think it's, you know, I always just pinpointed, like, being a kid, like shooting those imaginary shots, fadeaways, balling up the paper, shooting it in the trash. If you're at school, it's like basketball was such a like universal emotion that you could tap into, to where it's like, I always told myself, if I ever lost that element of feeling that, that's how I know I'm ready to walk away from the game, because it's like, it started at such a young age of having that, like P said, like having that imagination. You know how Space Jam first start? When he
golfing?
No, not that part. The very, very beginning, when Jordan was a kid, he was playing outside and dribbling. He made a move, he going to the court, and it kind of like transitioned to him playing with the Bulls, and the music started playing. It's like, that's how I envisioned basketball when I was a kid, of like having that type of imagination that gave me like an escape from like reality, of going to, like, when it was time to go home, like, I used to cry, because it was like, you could just be on the court all day, just shooting, playing, working on stuff. Even if you just make the craziest shot one time, it give you like a rush that nothing else could give you. And I think when you have a love for the game, you chase that adrenaline rush all the time. And I think that's what kind of like sets us free when we go to the gym and go shoot at night. You know what I mean? Take your mind and give you that rush that you need, because it's nothing but emotion that we had when we was young that we just continue to try to figure out how to tap into. You know what I mean? It's just, I know for me, that's what I always look forward to, is when I go to the gym, is that same emotion that I had when I was a kid.
It'll be interesting to watch you guys, and this isn't like a knock, and I'm curious if you guys think about this. Because, like, for instance, for me, like, I grew up playing basketball, loved it, played college, made some bad decisions, and my college career got cut short. But for me, I used to have that where I could go to the gym, and then when I was done playing basketball, it's just not the same. At least for me, it wasn't. You know, it's always tough no matter what level of athletics that you've played. When you stop, it can get a little challenging on what you're going to go do. So for me, I like to golf. I got a fish tank, cleaning out my, you know, just little stuff that you gotta find that piece. Have you guys thought forward at all, like when you guys are done? Because it's a difficult transition. I don't think a lot of people talk about, like, you guys basketball's not going to be, you're not going to be able to play basketball for forever.
I think you kind of see it, especially, you know, you can use us, for example. You know what I mean? Look how, you know, 10 years ago, I'm sure if you ask P, would he be doing something like this or had a passion that he just this?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no telling what other stuff he probably have more interest in, but doing something like this and being able to connect other people that we admire to the world. Like, I think that's such a thing that get underlooked because we have the ability to get on the phone and be like, hey, whoop-de-whoop, come do this for me. And now we get to give the world a different type of insight from some of our favorite people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a passion that we have. Even with me doing the things that I'm doing, of even writing a book, I never thought to this day, it's nowhere I could go where people, being basketball, I done had older people come up to me saying like how much I helped their child through a dark time in their life. And to me, I'd be like, God damn, I never even would have thought about that. But it hits so hard and it's so heavy because it's like, damn, I have the capability to be able to do something like this by what I'm doing. It gives me a whole nother passion outside of basketball that, you know, I try to build and grow on, you know? So for me, I think we have those elements of things, but I think sports always overshadow that, you know what I mean? Because we're so great at this, but it's so much that I think guys have that is just so difficult to tap into because, you know, we've been doing this since we was kids, but we doing so much other great things as well. So,
well, I think we all excited, man, to read the book. If you don't mind sharing the book to the camera and letting the viewers know what we expecting. September 10th.
First book, Above the Noise. You know, about my mental health journey. You know, I'm excited for it. You know, I think it just give a different insight of, you know, just the struggles of life that paved me to be where I'm at today. And the continuous journey of ups and downs that we all go through and how to maneuver through and, you know, find the strength to keep pushing through, you know, and I think it's a book, you know, that's definitely be insightful for a lot of people, you know, so I'm nervous, I'm excited for it, I'm a little bit everything for it, you know, like I said, I never thought I'd be sitting up here holding up a book, like,
right.
my book. Like I never thought that, but you know, it's definitely something cool I'm looking forward to.
Right. In doing this though, like, cause I know it's an obstacle, right? Like that's something I ain't never done. He ain't never done, wrote a book. But I know in doing that, it like unlocks, oh shit, like I can tap into this or I can like, you know what I mean? Like it kicks down a door that you didn't think that you could even walk through.
Yeah.
Writing a book, has it been something else since you've done this? Like, you know what? I want to try this now.
For sure. But I was telling somebody this the other day, right? I was when I finally got the hard copies, I'm like, man, I got a book that, you know, I did. And it make me think to 2018 when I sent out the tweet about, you know, this depression getting the best of me. And it made me, and I'm telling a story. I'm like, if I don't tweet that tweet then, I don't have this book now. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the effect of life that happens and you don't even know what you triggering for something to cause a great moment. You know, even little stuff, I wouldn't say little. Even, you know, when I did come out about it and you see the lead make a priority of, you know, having therapists available for us. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, like I think my man Freddie Van Vliet said it, like, you know, I changed the $1 billion business on the outlook of how they approach mental health. And you don't realize it in the moment, the major things that you're doing. So even with me doing this book, it makes me want to be part of something bigger than just myself, you know, and try to really spark a change in approach of, you know, mental health, especially from you know, for kids, because you know, we didn't know what mental health was growing up.
Right.
We never even thought about that, spoke about it, put that in consideration, but it's such a major thing because, you know, I look back at when I was in elementary school and you around a bunch of aggressive kids and it's like, God damn, I'm thinking it's normal. This ain't normal. Kids ought to be happy, upbeat, you know, enthusiastic, looking forward to something, not pushing away from everything that come their way. So that's just a form of mental health that, you know, we got to be able to help identify early. So, you know, by the time these kids get older, they not in a dark place or they not making all the wrong decisions that lead them down the wrong road. You know, when you look at real life and how much you have to live, I'm gonna have to live, knock on wood, hopefully live longer than I play basketball, because like that's the reality of this whole thing. You know, basketball isn't like a teacher. You know, we can't play this for 40, 50 years and you know, say we retiring.
Right.
So, you know, it's definitely more important because I'm still learning, and I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out stuff. I'm still willing to go through stuff. Like I'm the last person to say I'm anything close to perfect, man. I'm a work in progress. Like this shit get hard every single day, you know? So to me, understanding that makes it more important for me to even be able to do something like this, because not just me trying to help somebody else, everybody else is helping me as well.
There you have it, man. Be sure to y'all cop Above the Noise by DeMar DeRozan, September 10th. Definitely going to be a read that we all cop.
Yeah, I'm excited now.
Looking
Definitely
forward to
gonna check it
that.
out.
We all looking forward to that, bro,
Appreciate
in your
it,
journey.
appreciate it.
Be sure to cop Above the Noise by DeMar DeRozan. We'll be right back after this break.
We wanted to take a brief break from this episode to let you know that Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 5 million members across the country, it is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. For me, I love Prize Picks because I can put entries on more than just sports. Being a gamer, it's awesome that I can do sports and I can put entries on different video games. And for this upcoming weekend, for the start of the NFL, I'm taking more on Bijan Robinson, not just this week, but every week. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Right now, one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in the month of September. That's right, only 1 passing yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss the deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. Download the app today and use our promo code PODCASTP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. So you can start the football season by downloading the app today and using our code PODCASTP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. The next segment of this show is called The Connect, sponsored by AT&T. Stay connected to what matters most with AT&T.
So we off to Sac now, bro. What was, because obviously being a Southern Cal kid, Los Angeles native, everyone, I'm sure Lakerland was dying to have you in LA. What was the deciding factor that led you in Sacramento?
One, this is funny. One, I had to wait for what you was going to do, first of all. So I'm waiting for what you was going to do, first of all. You know, I had a hell of a time in Chicago. Like, had some hell of a teammates in Chicago. Great city, great place. You know, I think I was just looking for an opportunity just to win at a high level. You know, wherever that was going to be. I think coming out of last season, that was kind of like my view and my approach on this upcoming season. So, you know, once season ended, I just kind of took a seat back and kind of, you know, everybody knew I'm in a place where I just want to win. So from there, I just, you know, I let the cards play out in a way to where, all right, let me see what landscape of what is going to win and where I could be a part of that and help with that. So, you know, SAC came about and they were showing interest, like real interest.
Mm-hmm.
So when I sat back and looked at it and analyzed the team, great players, you know, great coach, you know, and I just always remember the last couple of years of always seeing them light this damn beam and winning and all that. Fans
got a
going
movement
crazy
over there for sure.
Yeah, for sure, got a movement, and that's definitely one thing you always want to be a part of is a contagious culture of an organization that want to win. And when I looked at all that, you know, I just felt like it fit. You know, it was a big key piece that I felt like I could bring from a leadership standpoint, and definitely, skill standpoint that could kind of, push us over the edge.
Mhm.
And, it became more and more appealing, as I waited. It took, I kind of took a while to sign because I just want to make sure the next decision I make, gave me the best opportunity to win.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Where else during that free agency, like where else was you thinking about going?
Just thinking about Philly.
Okay.
Philly definitely was an option. Lakers was an option always. Clippers was an option. And the Heat was an option. I say those teams for sure was a real personal, legitimate option for me to, that I was considering.
So this season is the 4th time you both will be joining a new team. Can you guys talk a little bit about the challenges that maybe people don't think of while you guys have to transition from team to team? I think moving is like an obvious one, but is there any like fine detail that your average fan maybe not be aware of that is difficult for you guys when you do have to go to a new city?
I know for me, it's crazy. Me and CP was talking about this the other day. I know you said the moving, but I know for me being away from my kids is the toughest, because, since I left Toronto, my kids, for the most part, being in LA. So being away from them, missing a lot of, if it's a daddy-daughter dance or something, or my son got a appointment or something, you miss certain things that kind of like, it kind of sting in a moment, kind of put you in a funk when you can't be there, especially with my oldest kids, where they can ask questions like, why you not there, or is you gonna be here for this, or just even the other day, one of my daughters asked me, you gonna be home for Halloween, and it's like, damn, I gotta check the schedule. So for me, that's the toughest out of everything.
I get it.
Yeah, I think for me, like, right, because now my kid's been here 5 years, so like when we first came here, my oldest was 5, right? So she just started schooling, like real schooling. So she just met her friends. She's got her group. Now the toughest part of that is like taking her from all of that and moving her out to Philadelphia. So like now it's, you know what I mean? It's not just me, because I can adjust, right? Like it's not the first time that I've been traded and been to a new team. So I can adjust. But now it's like my kids got to adjust. It's different on them. My wife got to adjust. It's different on her. Like she just came here, just met new people, just found who her friends are. She's got her network of people now. Now she's got to change all of that. So it's deeper than you know what I mean, just going to a new city and it'll be all gravy because, you know what I mean, you still playing in the league, like all of that. But then now you got to think about, you know what I mean, family. My parents, bro, like it was a luxury to have them be courtside and watch every game. And with my mom disability, now that's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough for her to travel, and it's tough for her to get to games now because they love games. You know what I mean? So I think when you think of all of that, like it put a strain on the family more so than anything else.
What's it like? P knows this, but DeMar and the fans don't. I'm going through a move right now, and I moved like 5 minutes away, and it has been stressful, bro. And I had movers, but what's it like for an NBA, like a different state, clear across the? What's an NBA player go through when they have to move clear across the country?
I hate moving, so whatever it is, hey, come move this shit, man.
I'm just saying, like, I'll be like, to me, it's a headache, but it's more so like, man, just pack this shit up and we get it there, we figure out from there. Like, that's me. Like, I'm like, and a lot of times with me, I might even be like, man, fuck all this shit.
Fuck that shit. Throw that shit,
I figure it out when I get to the next place.
Sounds pretty similar, just different extents. You know? Let's see, what
That's
can
how
I pay
like,
here? Let me get rid of this.
It come to moving, like I don't got no ties to that. Like that shit can go. Like I'll just figure it out when I get there.
That's the thing too. I think ever since like I kind of like left Toronto, like I never found like an emotional connection to where I was at in the sense of like I needed to like, take all this with me. Like it's, I never had that. So it kind of it's always like, to my point, like, all right, fuck it. All right, I'll figure it out when I get to the next place. Home for me is Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
That is home for me.
That's it.
Like, that's it. Anywhere else is work.
Right.
that's work for me. Like, all right, I gotta go to work. I work here. You know,
Right.
like that's how I view it. Yeah.
That's why this is an easy moving experience for me. Because like other cities, like, you know what I mean, coming from Indiana to Oklahoma, right? Or like Oklahoma to LA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I had to pack up everything.
Yeah.
Like LA is always home. So
Yeah.
like I don't gotta take shit. We can leave all that shit here. You know what I mean? Like we coming back to LA at some point.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier this time around.
Well, if you get rid of anything, just
I actually meant to call you. I actually meant to call you because I bought this golf simulator, big ass simulator, but I can't. It's nowhere I can put it in the crib.
He's already given me one. So
See,
did you put that one up?
I gave it to my dad. It's in his office.
I got shit like 30,000.
Well, Dudley would be pretty
You can't
excited
use
about
it?
that. I'd have to see if wife.
It
would
just
let
don't.
me.
If she,
I have
put it up.
space now because it's a bigger place.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have my ceilings. Like the one place I can put it, the ceiling is it don't meet the ceiling requirement.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
I mean, obviously it's a lot that goes in it with me. You know what I mean? Because I'm moving my nanny out there with me. I'm moving my chef out there with me. Actually, my chef is actually on the road now. Jake's actually on the road now, driving to Philly. He's driving all the way there to Philadelphia to get set up out there. My nanny, she'll obviously fly with us. But you know what I mean? You got to have people to come pack up the cars. Yeah. I'm having people come in, Saturday to pack up my closet, get all my shit out of my closet, get that shit moved out there. Yeah. Then they'll unbox and, you know what I mean, organize everything in the new crib. So it's a whole process. It's actually a whole process.
I ain't gonna lie. Shout out to all my cousins. They already know. Shout out to all my cousins. Whatever they need, they know who they is.
Yeah.
They already know. They be feet on ground. Whatever they got to do, they'll pack that motherfucker up. If you need a moving company, I have cousins that will do anything you need. Yeah.
Plug them, man. Plug the fam,
For
man.
real.
That was The Connect. Stay close to the action with AT&T. At home or on the go, AT&T keeps you connected to the game you love. We'll be back after this break. So, Dow, summer is almost over and fall is about to be here. What fall rituals are you looking forward to this year?
Rituals? I'm not sure about rituals, but what I am excited about is I get to throw some sweaters on, some jackets, get a little bit more, a little more style in there instead of just the T-shirts. What about you?
Love that. Love that. You know what I mean? It's always about light hoodies. You know what I mean? Always compliments the flea.
Okay.
Most importantly, season's around the corner. One thing you should definitely do this fall is keep hydrated and energized with Liquid IV. I always make sure I have it with me after a workout. It's super simple. I just grab a water bottle, pick my favorite flavor, which happens to be strawberry lemonade, tear, pour, and enjoy.
Like PG just said, just tear, pour, and live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. When I wake up early morning to get a workout in, I like to use the lemon ginger hydration multiplier plus energy. It provides the equivalent energy of 1 to 2 cups of coffee with about 100 milligrams of naturally occurring caffeine. I feel focused throughout my workout.
So start a new fall ritual with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code PODCASTP at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code PODCASTP at liquidiv.com. So, DeMar, you've spent the last 3 seasons with the Chicago Bulls experiencing, both highs and lows, but reflecting on your time in Chicago, how would you, summarize your overall experience being there?
It definitely was a resurgence because, playing in San Antonio, not that big of a market. I think it was, a complete just down year, in the world. So much went on my 3 years in San Antonio with a pandemic, us going to a bubble, us, playing with no fans. It was a lot that went on those 3 years in San Antonio. So going to Chicago, major city, iconic organization, to go back, especially with my first year there, having a year that I had, being an all-star, being in an MVP race, everything. It was it was kind of like a, dream come true, in a resurgence of a season, playing with all those guys, and the next year the same, being All-Star again, having a banged up team, fighting against the odds, everything, and even to this last year, me being, 34, I think I missed 3 games. I think I led the lead in minutes played by far. Like, those just show, just the hard work, the dedication, the love of the game that I had, and just the will that, I tried to have to, just put the Bulls back on top, make the Bulls a respectable team, So, I gave it my all, through the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the ugly. But, one thing I really appreciate about that my time in Chicago was definitely my teammates, all of them, from Kobe White to, Pat Williams to Vooch to, Zach to Lonzo, all those guys that I played with, man. It was a special time. I gained a different type of bond with most of those guys that was there for sure.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, that core guys and Lonzo and Caruso and Pat
my
Williams.
dog AC. That's my favorite.
I was gonna say you missed
Listen, my bad, AC.
Yeah,
AC,
best player. No,
I ain't gonna lie, Caruso. I gotta put this out here. Caruso probably my top 3 favorite teammates of all time, man.
Yeah.
I love that dude, man. I love AC, man. Like he know how I greet him every time I see him. That's my dog.
So joining that core guys, like I know for me, when I first got that trade and went to Oklahoma, I knew immediately I had to change my game and tried to elevate. When I went to LA, I knew I had to change my game and try to elevate. When you went to Chicago and you with that core, with Lonzo, with LaVine, with Caruso, Pat Williams, Vucevic, what part of your game was you like, I need to elevate and I need to add that to this group?
I think my time in San Antonio put me in a place to where like it was like a university that I graduated in 3 years when I was in San Antonio, because Pop challenged me in a whole different level that I've never been challenged in before.
Mm-hmm.
More so from understanding how to be a playmaker, how to play without the ball, how to make your teammates around you way better, make them comfortable, make them find different ways in having confidence in the game. And I carried all that over with my ability, obviously, to be able to score when I went to, to Chicago. And I kind of put all that together, and I kind of also felt free again, because I always try to play in a system when I was in San Antonio. But when I got to Chicago, I remember the first thing they told me was, be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's all I needed to hear. And I kind of just, unleashed it.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Billy. I know
Yeah,
Billy let you rock.
Shout out Billy, man. Billy Donovan, man. He let me,
Yeah, nah, Billy let you rock.
Billy
that's
let you
one
rock,
thing I
man.
fuck with Billy for, man. He
Yeah.
let you hoop, he let you play, he let you
Yeah.
fuck up, he let you do, you know what I mean?
You
As
can
long
talk-
as it's in
Yeah, you could talk to him about anything.
anything.
Like, Billy, I love Billy, man.
Yeah. I read that like you drew a lot of inspiration from MJ Wizard era,
Yeah.
just watching those highlights.
Yep.
What did you gain, and why was that so important for you to watch him in those moments?
If you sit and just watch Wizards Jordan and see how incredible he was from 38 to 40 years old, the way he scored the ball, the way he was able to create his shots from the post, from the elbow, off one dribble, off 2 dribbles, stop, pull up, how physical he was in the post, how he was able to create contact and still get to the basket. He wasn't athletic like he was, but still being able to, finish over guys. It was so incredible because it was such a master of art, how simple he just made the game. It's just playing off jab steps, pump fakes. And I used to watch every bit of Wizards Jordan because it was like, if he doing this at this age, let me figure out how to master these things that he doing, because you don't see everybody doing it. Everybody want to do the dribble, double step back, all that. And it's like, nah, let me make the game simple and kill these spots and angles and using my body on a fadeaways, either shoulder. So that's one like thing that I took from Wizards Mike, because he was incredible. If you really watch him, he was incredible, man.
Yeah.
On a bad knee.
Right. At 40 years old.
It's crazy. I don't know if you guys that you say that, because I just saw a clip of Rasheed Wallace. He basically was saying
He said that he was better.
He was better. Michael Jordan was better with the Wizards than he was with the Bulls. And everyone was giving him like a bunch. I mean, obviously he wasn't as athletic. All those things. But to your point, had to play a different game. Did you see that clip?
I ain't see that clip.
See, and I've been saying this for the last couple years.
That's a crazy statement.
Yeah.
It is. But I get what you're saying.
I got what he was saying with that, but because he was just, if you just go back and watch Mike with the Wizards, he was cold. He was cold.
On Michael Jordan's last game versus the Clippers in LA.
Did you?
You saw it?
Pops took me as a little kid. I have a picture. It's
you remember
great.
it?
Yeah,
That's dope.
Me and Billy.
That's dope.
Yeah, good memories.
Oh.
Anyways, upon your arrival in Chicago, you had just mentioned you had some young guys on the team with Kobe White and Patrick Williams who have shown a ton of improvement since they've got into the league. How would you, as a vet now, engage with those younger players and either give them tidbits, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, to motivate them to get better year after year?
I think more so for me, I show myself to be overly relatable to them. I don't perceive myself of being like, I'm this much older than you. I played this many more games than you. It's like, nah, I'm a man like you a man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna respect you as such. And with that, everything I do know that you may not know, I want you to have. And I really approach it from that standpoint as like y'all my partners, and I want y'all to have everything that I probably wasn't able to have at your age. And they're overly receptive of that, and like that's to my point. Like those dudes listen, they ask questions, they sit and listen. There's been times I sat and talked to the young dudes for hours, whether if it was on a plane, in the locker room, shoot the shit with them, because it's I want them to understand what it takes to be special and play a long time in this league. And with that, I lead by example by doing all the other stuff that I may not say, by being on time, being respectable, understanding and being considerate of everybody else's space when it comes to, the weight room, on the court, locker room, playing, London, whatever it may be. A lot of things that may go over a lot of people's head that I try to just be consistent with, so guys can see and understand what it takes to be in the league a long time. The goal is to play as long as you desire. But with that understanding, the game got so much to give. Don't disrespect it.
I know you and Zach was tight, and it was a long summer for me as well, being in LA, not knowing what my outcome was gonna be, but I knew, I had to be connected with why, right?
Yeah.
Hitting why, I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing that. Ultimately, it came to an end where why was the first phone call I had to make.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, shit didn't work out here. I got to go elsewhere. What was that conversation like with you and Zach when you was ultimately, hey, my time here in Chicago is over?
It's crazy. And this is probably insight to the fans that probably don't understand how the business may work. But, from our perspective, we know. You kind of have a feel and understanding way before anything happens.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these conversations was talked about, early on as certain things being a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is a possibility, these are the options. This is how I may go. Look out for this, expect this. So me and Zach used to have a lot of those conversations on a plane, in a locker room, especially, he was going through a lot this season with injuries and, everything he was going through with rumors and everything. So more so me always trying to have those conversations with him so it could be, one, reassuring and understanding that, this is part of the game. This is part of the business that we in.
Mm-hmm.
This may happen if this don't happen. So it was a constant communication of everything along the way, the ifs, the possibilities. So when it came to make a decision, it wasn't a surprise or a shocking anything.
Right.
It was more so go be happy, go win. You deserve to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was always that constant communication especially with me and Zach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do before because that team was super talented, bro.
Yeah.
When you think of Lonzo, if he don't get hurt, Zach, if he don't get hurt, Pat Williams is up and coming. Caruso as a 6-man is crazy. Vucevic is one of the best young bigs. Not young anymore, but he's one of the best bigs in our league. Like when you look at the team that could have been, like, is it a little bit of like, damn, I wish like this window could have been a lot better.
For sure.
Had things gone differently.
100%, because like I was so close with all the guys, like, you know, like Ayo Dosunmu, that, you know, I wanted to be a part of like their success as well as their growth. Like I watched how hard these dudes work. And these conversations I had with all of them, from Kobe and all this, to where it's like, yo, like but that's another part that I think people don't understand, like how much I try to bust my ass, even with us dealing with so many injuries against the gun and not having everything we may need. I try to salvage so much because I didn't want to see it go, because I wanted to be part of these young guys that work so hard, success. So it was like, come on, man, we got to we got to do this, because if it go the other way, you know, from the top, they got to make a decision. And when they make a decision, it's going to go down a whole nother route that may prolong the success, you seeing success. You know what I mean? So that was one thing, like, I always was hopeful for, because I wanted to be a part of all those young guys' success. I wanted to win with them. I wanted to be a part of, you know, what it was like, you know, those first 4 months, my first year in Chicago. So.
Recently, we just saw you working out with college basketball star and fellow Trojan and also fellow Podcast P family, Juju Watkins. What were you trying to teach her in that video? And also, maybe there was a couple other things that you were going through during that workout that weren't on film.
You know, it's crazy. It was a lot more that I showed her and taught her. P got it. P DM'd me. He wrote me.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I hit him right away. Hey, dog, I'm still in that.
I'm still in that. Like but he got what I was trying to show. I don't think a lot of people understood what I was trying to show. Like, it was just more so understanding defensive players' tendencies. You know, when they handing away.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just trying to just show like the rhythm that, like, P, one of the best players that play at a certain pace and rhythm that keeps the defender like off balance. So my thing is, when you get a guy off balance and they hand in there, you pull up, shoot your regular shot. That's a foul. You know, little things like that to make your defender have to change the way that they guard. So me just giving her just different looks of knowing how, you know, she gonna be played this upcoming year, because, you know, she killed everybody last year. So now everybody gonna be prepared on, you know, how to guard her. So all the real cool shit wasn't seen. You know, I just showed, you know, that more so just a little small tendency how you could draw fouls more than anything.
Well, what was some of the cool, you know? Come on,
she got to share that. You know, I can't share.
You trying to have everybody in her bag now.
Yeah, she one of them ones. She's special. She going, like, I can't wait to see what she do in college, and I can't wait to see how she changed women basketball for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch her this season, and not to put any pressure on her, but what kind of season do you expect from her this year?
I think she'll have even a better season, because they even going to have a better team.
Yeah.
An even scarier team. You know,
they got the girl from Stanford, right?
Kiki.
Duncan. She's banging out, right?
Yeah.
She's tough.
She tough. So, like, they got a whole squad now to where, like, I got them winning it all, and that's just not me being biased. Like, I just
come on,
I got them
gonna be
going
good.
away. They're gonna be really good.
I'm excited to watch her.
Yeah.
But P, you also pulled up a couple days ago to the Rico Hines runs with the Sixers.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for the invite. But I also want to know, how did it feel to get out there and kind of have your first up and down for the summer?
Yeah, no, it felt good. It felt good. You know what I mean? It was a tough time because, you know, I'm just getting back from China and shit. So I'm all over the place in terms of, like, timing. You know what I mean? But it was good to just get out, get some runs, sweat it out a little bit. I played 2 days, actually. I played Monday and Tuesday. Monday, I was awful. Like, couldn't make a shot. was gassed. Like, I looked bad Monday.
Iffy.
I was like, you know what? I got to come back. Like, so Tuesday came back. I was still a little, like, rusty because I ain't played fives since season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything I've been doing is just individual shit. And so it's different when now it's live and you got to read and, like, only so much drill shit. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Tuesday I looked a lot better Tuesday. I was actually, like, starting to get my shit back together, my handle back tight. Everything was starting to, you know what I mean, get back right. But no, it was good. It was good to check in, see some of the Sixers people. There's still so many people I ain't even met yet.
Yeah.
That's with the organization. So it was cool to kind of tap in with them. But it was, you know, Rico shit is always good runs.
How'd you guys do? What court were you on?
Oh, we won.
Okay.
Second day we won.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The middle court is the court you want to be on.
Yeah.
You got to get 4 wins to win the day. We got our 4 wins and got up out of there.
So I want to ask you guys, what's a more enjoyable run, the Drew League or Rico Hines?
I think that's more of a Debo question.
Yeah. I mean, all depends what you want. And, you know, Drew League is more like, you know, you got an audience. It's like real game. I think, you know, Rico runs a more of a work on your game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You competing with guys, you going after it. You know, you there for a reason. Like you said, you stay on the middle court, 4 wins, run your sprints, you out of there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's more, you're approaching it more like a workout day.
Mm-hmm. I do like though, like, cause like it'll be dudes in there that you be like, damn, he nice.
Yeah.
And then it's some dudes in there like, damn, this ain't his setting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like pickups is not his setting.
Yeah.
But then there's dudes that be like, damn, he gonna have a crazy year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the NBA is just, the league is just not, that's
just ain't it. Yeah.
can't get his shit off in the league.
Can't, yep.
So I done seen both sides of like people kill in Rico runs and they get in the league and like they can't even touch the floor.
Can't touch it, yeah.
And then there's the opposite. Dudes that like, damn, they can't get their shit off here.
Yeah.
Like, and then they get in the league and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Like it's a different story.
Yeah.
So I was talking to one of the dudes about this the other day. Cause the courts ain't NBA size.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you got like 7-footers, you got 6'10" dudes, you got 6'8" dudes filling the whole floor up. And the court is like playing on a high school court.
Yeah, it is.
So like it's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the spacing is just bad playing on those runs. So if you can get off, you nice.
Yeah, you
like
nice.
because it's really no space to get off.
Yeah. And I think it's an opportunity thing too. A lot of those guys who are nice really don't get that full opportunity to be free
Mm-hmm.
in an NBA game. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like it's
Exactly.
It's much different. Like
Because you know you can fuck up in Rico runs.
you know you can fuck up and you know you could do some shit you probably can't do in the NBA.
Right.
Everybody don't got the green light to go out there and
Right.
be like, all right, I'm about to work on my game and do this in a real game. Like, you know, it just don't happen that way.
To speak on Peace Point, and you might remember his name, but I will never forget.
The dude that was
I will never,
locking up,
ever,
blocking shit.
This guy, dude, do
He
you
was a
remember his
creative
name?
player,
You
dog.
might know
I
him.
know who you talking about.
This guy was beating up everyone.
It was he played for the Raptors, right?
He might have.
Bro, I've never seen
I've never seen him again though. I've never seen him
I
again.
think you talking about
I think he was a college guy because I remember you telling me his name. I don't think he played in the league.
No, he didn't. Oh, okay.
It was the same guy that KJ ended up getting him, I
Yeah,
think.
KJ
But the
ended up
past,
dunking
like,
on him.
Up and down 4 or 5 possessions, he had like
And it wasn't
most
like he was
spectacular-
probably like 6'5", 6'6". Wasn't like big dude.
bounce.
But I ain't gonna lie, he was getting shit. Like,
Perfect timing.
perfect timing.
Just like
Snatch blocking shit.
it
like
was crazy. I was sitting there like, wow.
I don't know where he
this
came
is-
from, who
You
he
gotta show me the
was.
video. I see the video.
We
I
might
think
be able to, if we can.
It's on YouTube.
If we can
It's on
find
YouTube.
the because KJ dunked on him.
Yeah.
KJ had a big highlight. It was that guy, and that's the one clip
that's-
that went viral.
Yeah,
and no
that's
one
the
knew
bad
that
thing about it though, because he had an amazing day
was
of
crazy,
blocking
bro.
shit, and this one particular moment, KJ caught his ass bad.
Yeah,
But
I got
it was to like it speaks volume to like him being crazy enough to go try to get KJ shit.
Yeah.
It just tells you that he was going getting shit that
You
day.
you gotta respect that. You gotta respect it.
Yeah, he got my respect. It wasn't no jokes about it. Like shit, it happens, bro.
Man.
You spoke about your time in San Antonio and your relationship with Popovich. and he actually wrote the foreword in your book.
Mm-hmm.
Being there for 3 years, I know it was, being around Pop, the short stint that I've been around Pop, he's always oozing with wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
What was like some wisdom or some knowledge that he kicked on you that, like, from this point on, you take throughout your career?
I mean, he always put life in perspective in the sense of, like, I remember one time, we came in thinking we about to watch film on basketball, and he showed us a whole video of kids in a third world country, like 12 years old, training to be in the Army with AK-47s, all this. And he's showing us. He didn't give us a heads up while he's showing it. He like showed us. It go off, and it's like, and he just said something like, "Y'all in the NBA," and it was like, so you take away from that, like, putting in perspective, like, we bitching and complaining about whatever it is we may be complaining about, but imagine if you had a kid that was over there, your kid was training for the Army. At 14, 12, 13 years old. It's real. Like, we are very privileged. So with that, give yourself grace when you think shit is hard. It ain't that hard in comparison of what a lot of these other, countries may be going through, and a lot of these families may be going through. So, things like that always put a lot of moments in perspective on just how to give yourself, like, grace in certain times.
Yeah. Perspective, everything, man. He get it. Like, that's coaching at its best right
there.
there.
Yeah, bro. Like,
I tell people all the time, like, that was one thing I cherished and valued about Coach K when we was in Team USA.
Yeah,
like,
same. Yep, same.
Shit he'll show us before a game, you be like, shit, let's get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll run through a wall right now.
But that was the thing. Remember, he'll show us some shit and be like, look, I got the chills.
Yeah, right. And you did. Like,
you really had the chills, the shit he was showing it, but it make you feel like, you just push it in perspective. Like,
right.
Like, to your point, them the two dudes I've been around in my basketball career that really, 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 put a lot of things in perspective for us.
So Spurs get the first pick. They grab Victor Wembanyama, right? From your perspective and your time being in San Antonio with Pop, like, how huge is that for his development?
Everything. I don't think he could have went to a better place, a better person, a better situation, because the knowledge that, first of all, from everything I hear, Wemby is already a hell of a kid anyway. Like, so the discipline, the hunger, the drive, the motivation he already have, being underneath the tutelage of a Pop, I think you will be able to tell this season how special. I mean, you can see it in a championship game, in the Olympics.
Right. He grew so much.
So much.
Yeah.
Like, and you can just see it to where we know how playing in the Olympics, what that do for your confidence as it is. Coming out of that. So you coming out of that type of experience, understanding you about to be on a Pop again, and also CP about to be on there.
Finally got a point that can get him the ball when and where he needs it.
And give him those 3 to 4 to 5 easy buckets a game on top of what he already was doing the year before. Like, I think you're gonna be able to see how important Pop is and will be to Wemby.
I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on, there's been a lot of discussion about just the evolution of the NBA. And from your guys' opinion, being in the NBA for a while, do you think the game's in a much better place than when you guys first entered the league? And if so, what are some major differences that you guys see that would add to that, where you think, hey, we're in a much better place than when we got into the league?
My only drawback, and I love that, kids is getting paid, dudes is getting paid. Like, I love that. My only drawback is, like, that shit used to mean a lot more for us to get that contract. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, like, after my second or third year, I was like, damn, like, am I working hard enough? Did I do enough?
Yeah.
Like, you know, am I worth this deal? Like, I feel like it's being thrown out so easily now because the money is just going up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my only drawback is like the kids, do they really like go through that grind?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily do they deserve it, because I think they putting their bodies on the line. Like, if the production matches, they obviously deserve it. But like, are they working as hard for it as like we had to work for it?
Yeah.
That's my only drawback. But I love where the game is going. I think kids is ultimately way more talented than we were at their age.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the game is just growing internationally. You get more international guys. And the game is just getting bigger and bigger. So I love the state of that it's in. I just, you know, I wish and want them to have that same type of hunger and that dog that we had coming into the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way, because it's like I remember my first contract, like it was like, I think I signed for like 9.5 a year. And at the time that was fucking lot. I think it was like 38
max
million.
then.
Yeah, it was damn near the max. But I just remember I remember getting killed for it. Like killed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, even in that moment, I felt like I had so much more to prove. Not just from the money standpoint, but more so from like a player standpoint. Like, my drive was always wanting to be a winner, a competitor, and be respected by my peers. It was never about however much money like I could get. I wanted to, you know, when I step on the floor, the older guys to the younger guys respecting me, like knew like, all right, man, this motherfucker gonna bring it tonight regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of that kind of get lost because, you know, guys just expect to get the big money regardless, whether if you losing, whether if you just, you know, averaging 9 points, whether you just do enough. When to P point, it was like, this shit was a grind, man. This shit was like everything to us, man. Like, and I feel like, you know, granted, like it's such a big shift in the sports world, because you got players in college getting $1 million. I couldn't imagine getting a fucking $1 million coming out of Compton. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I couldn't wait till that $500 stipend in college hit just to get some food.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Pell grants and shit.
Like, I remember after I got drafted, the night I got drafted, my phone bill was due. Me trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay my phone bill because I hadn't got paid yet. You know what I mean? So it's those elements that gave me a different type of edge that I feel like, do everybody still have that same edge now, knowing that, you know, shit, I'm good regardless. Like, we never thought like that. It was always like to P point, like, shit, did I do enough? Am I working hard enough? Have I put enough into this? Like, I feel like you don't hear that as much as we did, you know, before, because like, you know, shit, you famous now in a 10th grade, you know, if you get a highlight that go viral, you know what I mean? So.
You didn't want to be a one-time All-Star.
Nah, I seen that.
Dude, that was funny, bro. Did you see the clip?
What happened?
So he was on Teague's podcast, and he was talking kind of like that, and he's like, yeah, you know, I didn't want to be like a one-time All-Star type of guy.
Yeah.
And then like Teague was a one-time All-Star, and all his boys just started laughing.
Nah, yeah, with the Dame, yeah. If you just giving up a wide open shot to Damian Lillard, you gonna be, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like,
right.
It's definitely a different. I ain't mean to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, was that a shot, bro?
I should have
Dang,
said.
bro, you're just firing shots everywhere.
You know what's crazy? My partner Lou Will texted me this morning and said, "Man, I don't know if I want you on my podcast because you throwing blind shots at people." And I was like, "But
that's good." To follow up on what P mentioned, the money is different, and whether, you know, it's almost tough to blame these younger guys, in my opinion. Like, you guys might not have had the same drive that you did have if you were getting these contracts. It's easy to be like, but it's different. The money's different. Do you think because these young guys are getting more money that they're less receptive to some criticism? I know you guys have said you worked with some good younger players and they've been asking you questions. But have you noticed a change in that with maybe other guys you've kind of seen throughout the league where you can't tell him nothing because he just signed for, you got 20 million or 30 million?
Yeah, you know, my problem, this is me speaking for me. You know what my problem is? Like all these guys that have an entitlement when it comes to certain shit, but you wouldn't know who fucking Horace Grant was. The knowledge of the game ain't there. And to me, that's what bothers me more so than anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when I first came in the league, I could name every 90s team. I can name everybody who won the championship in the 90s, in the 80s. I can name, you know what I mean? I can name, like...
Name me all the names of the champions in the 90s. Man, I might not even know all the names. I know who Horace Grant is.
But you get my point, though.
Yeah. So with that being said, obviously, Anthony Edwards comes with the controversial statement about nobody was skilled other than Jordan back in the day. What's your takes on that?
My take is like, listen, Ant is one of my favorite players to watch.
Mine too.
By far. But even something like that, we never would have made no statement like that.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because regardless, at the end of the day, I respect every OG who ever played this game. This game was built on a foundation of taking steps of wherever it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I never discredit wherever the league was at 20 years ago because it's all about, you know, elevating, you know, and granted, I only read the headlines of what he said. I don't know what context further he went into to further explain it. But if you look at it back then, it was, those guys still was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they still was. Like, you look at a guy like fucking Ron Strickland. He wasn't skilled.
Right.
No.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Was for sure.
Like, you can't tell me it wasn't no skillful guys around just because at the time you have such a phenom of a athletic freak in Michael Jordan. Don't discredit everybody else.
Right.
We had one of the best bigs that ever played this game, Hakeem Olajuwon, playing the 90s. That was
most skilled.
He had
big.
the most skilled big I done seen play in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, win back-to-back championships, MVPs, defensive players. Like it's so many of those. You look at it, even a fucking Scottie Pippen. Like, if you see a Scottie Pippen like that today, you would think he a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Guys
You know
like
what I
Brent
mean?
Barry jumping from the free throw line.
It's
My gosh, I don't see that today.
But it's like, my thing is like, I was trying to understand where he was coming from, but I know from my point of view, I would never discredit or undermine anybody who came before me because regardless, like, I watched fucking Alex English play. He wasn't fucking athletic. Like, he wasn't this, but I used to always watch his tape on him on how he got buckets, how he scored. Whether if it was simple or not, it was a skill that he had that he mastered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You look at George Gervin, you don't see nobody shooting no finger rolls like him.
Right.
That's a skill that you cannot teach. And I feel like everybody had their own skill just because it wasn't to a Michael Jordan level. Don't discredit it. That's my only take to it.
We had my pops on last episode, and so this was the conversation we had. And my viewpoint, and not to put words in his mouth or not to try to explain what he was trying to say, I took it as he was just trying to relate MJ to how we move in today's game. You know what I mean? Like us being athletic and high flying and athletic maneuvering, acrobatic in the air. That's what I was hoping he was referring to without being able to explain everything that he meant to say about that situation. So hopefully I'm helping him in that. Listen. We all got an opinion because it was a bad take.
Yeah, I get it, but from my perspective, like I said, bro, I got Ant, my favorite player. I got his jersey this year. I ain't gonna lie, I asked for it. I don't give a shit. But my point of view
favorites.
is just like I would never undermine anybody who came before me because they built a foundation for us to be where we was at today.
Yeah.
Now imagine somebody 20 years from now saying, Ant Edwards, you ain't that athletic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or you wasn't as skilled as, you know what I mean? let's hope the game get that far ahead. You know what I mean? We all got to start and finish somewhere.
Yeah, that will be interesting because it's funny. It's more so like he's not talking about your guys' group. He's talking about a little bit before your guys' time. And I think he gets away with some of this things that he says just because he's outside looking in. He just has that personality where it's like he doesn't have like a bad bone in his body.
Nah,
you know what I mean? He's just one of those dudes that says what he thinks and what he feels and with a
I don't
smile
think it's
on
no
his face.
malicious intent behind it at all. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's just like, you know, like that's why I said I just could never undermine nobody who come before me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you guys, as vets, OGs, can you compare and contrast the advice you guys received as rookies compared to what you guys now are sharing with rookies?
I mean, I tell the rookies the same message that they told me. And I was always just, when you go out there, you're not playing for one organization, you're playing for 30.
Yeah.
And that's the message I relay to all the young guys that come into the league, all the rookies that's under me. Listen, dog, how you handle yourself, everybody in this arena got a mouth and they gonna tell the other person how you handle yourself. So that was what was taught to me, and that shit always stuck with me. Like, make sure you are professional because you playing for every other team in this organization. And so I relate that shit to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, same. Like, on top of that, one thing I always express is like, be disciplined and consistent throughout your whole career. You know, whatever you do, be consistent with it. Be who you are every single day. You know, and that'll take you a long way, because once you have that reputation of knowing, man, this person is on time, he gonna work hard, he respectful, he a professional, everything else will fall in line.
Mm-hmm.
And DeMar, you mentioned Ant and Juju were, some of your favorite players right now to watch. They're young stars. Is there anybody else in the league or college or even high school that you enjoy watching other than them two, and why?
I think some of my favorite players in the league I like to watch is, hope Ja come back healthy. He was one of my favorite players to watch for sure. Obviously Luka. Like all these young guys, like I'm truly, like, this is my basketball fan of me speaking. It's like I'm a fan of everybody. It's not a night that go by where I don't sit and watch everybody play. You know what I mean? I want to watch everybody play. I remember watching, for example, when Luka, what he scored 70. Like I was watching the game, like standing on my feet, hoping he got 80. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm a fan of all these guys. You know what I mean? Like all these young guys. Like I root for them because I want to see them take the lead to the next level. I want to see them to withhold this lead up, to a level that we try to. You know what I mean? I remember being in the All-Star games with Kobe, knowing like Kobe was on his way out, and it's like, how can I still honor his hard work by being around and doing this consistent leadership that I'm trying to follow as well. So
yeah, same. I mean, I'm same as DeMar said, like just being a student of the game, right? Like, so I watch a ton of NBA games. I more so love when like you watch young guys and you be like, damn, it's clicking.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's starting to click. He's starting to get it.
yeah,
That be like the beauty in it, because then he starts to find his game. He starts to find his tempo, his pace, and then you just watch the progression from then on. So like it's really all the young guys. Like I like watching all the young guys, and then obviously, I think the biggest coming in to college, he'll be fun to watch. Cooper Flag, obviously. But I also like the young guy Chicago actually just drafted, Matthias.
Yeah.
Bro, he gonna be a hooper.
Yeah.
Like, I watched him in Summer League. I watched him a little bit when him and Cooper used to go at it. He might be one of the, like, up-and-coming stars very soon. Like, he can hoop. He got game. So I'm looking forward to watching him this season.
Yeah.
I actually got to chop it up with him when we was in Vegas during Summer League. And, that was one thing he told me. Like, man, you one of my favorite players. Like, I watch a ton of your highlights. I base my workouts after you. Like, I try to emulate stuff you do. So it was cool, like, to have that
we
connection.
getting old, dog.
Yeah.
That for real, for real. Cause I didn't know the face. You know what I mean? Right away, I'm thinking like, okay, this kid in AAU or some shit like that. Then he was, but then I saw the Chicago like people around him.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is this kid. And he was tall as shit,
Yeah.
towering me. So like it is a time like we coming into that time where we getting old. Like we on our way out this motherfucker.
Well, speaking of being old, as you guys have been in the league for so long, Peace talked about it, how he always has like personal goals each year. So with both of you heading to, new organizations, would love to know your guys' thoughts or what your guys' personal goals are for yourselves in this upcoming season.
Just win, dog. That's my personal goal. Just win. Just win.
Yeah.
Win at the highest level. Win Philly. They ain't not having nothing else but winning, dog.
Yeah.
And I'm fully aware of that. So that's the only thing on my agenda is just win.
What do you think about him going to Philly?
I love it.
With the fans and everything, like have you you haven't played there, but like just being in the NBA, are they as tough as?
Yeah, they one of the toughest for sure. One of the toughest to play, and obviously witnessing one of the toughest. Like if shit ain't going right, they they get on your ass type of fan. But you want to have fans like that, passionate
that's
fans.
what I said. Like,
you know what I mean? I think
wrong with that.
You want to have a passionate group of fans that you know what I mean. Like shit, you ain't performing how you performing. I done paid this money, come support. You better you want that. You know what I mean? Like you better. I want y'all best, so I can give my best, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
And what about your personal goals for this year?
I mean, the same. It's definitely win, but for sure, I think for me is my goal. Like I always try to set a goal where I always try to tell myself, like play at least 80 games, like regular season. Like that's my goal because the hard work that I put in, everything else to take care of itself. As long as you out there and being available. I think the older I get, I take that serious, just being available, playing. So that's always a goal of mine to try to get 80 in there. You know what I mean? Because everything else to take care of itself.
Well, y'all, this is our final episode of season 2. We had a good run of this year 2 of Podcast P. Dow. Give me some highlights from your greatest moments of season 2.
It's a great season, but by far it has to be the live show we did. I was so nervous. Just
the one in here,
man,
the one in LA.
Yep, we had an audience. Lil Dicky. I was sweating bullets before I got up there. But then when I was done, it was like one of the coolest things that I think I've done. It was just fun being up there with friends.
Yeah.
Doing what we do.
Yeah, we was all nervous that episode. We probably took like 3 shots in the back.
Oh, I took a little bit more. I for sure had a little bit more. So P, you're heading to Philly. You are leaving Los Angeles. What a shocker. So this is our last episode being here at the set. We're going to be doing it digitally, but looking back, we've had a lot of good moments here. Give me some of your favorite in-person episodes that we've done here.
Favorite obviously jumps to mind is Jerry West. Had a legend, man. Legend. He shared some stories. He was unapologetically himself. I think you just think of the great storytellers we had. B. Shaw, amazing stories. Zebo, amazing stories. And then, we got superstars, man. We got DeMar in here. We had Clay in here. We had Draymond in here. Asia Wilson. Like, we had some heavyweights, you know what I mean? For people to take time out of their schedules, dog, to come and chop it up with us in our set. Obviously, I mentioned my dad. That was a dope episode. Man, I think, we just grew. Like, we really made
crazy,
this.
Bro.
Like
it's a trip looking back
made this
that we've
happen.
done this for 2 years.
It's crazy.
We got DeMar just bringing the views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's like the Drake of podcasts. Every time he gets on a podcast, numbers are up, baby.
Numbers.
I had to. Juju was cool.
Juju, like up and coming star.
Yeah.
Not even up and coming. She's a star now.
Those are
like
fun.
she's transitioning to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So it was dope to kind of You know what I mean? Capitalize on and highlight her success.
Yeah.
Man, we doing it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's been dope, man. It's been a hell of a 2-year run being in this studio. So hopefully we can capitalize and capture all of these moments digitally.
We will. It'll be good. We're excited.
Yeah.
The show's not stopping.
Shout out Jackie, who couldn't be here with us, supporting him all the way to Chicago, doing his thing on the Shy. Make sure y'all tune in and watch him on the Shy. Shout out our producer, YT, for everything he does for the show. Shout out our guys, EJ, TD, Chuck, and the whole Podcast P family, man. Nothing without y'all. Dal, you got anything you want to include?
No, I think you covered it. I'm thankful for everyone. It's been a fun opportunity. I thank him all the time. And let's just keep it rolling.
Most importantly, shout out our dog Debo, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, DeMar.
That's a wrap. Podcast P. We out.